Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's show. It is the 12th of August, 2020, still in the COVID pandemic, unfortunately. And today has been an interesting day, to say the least, but that's okay. Kind of expected that. Learning a lot in the face groups, but people do not like having themselves called out. That's the way it is. Anyways, the other thing, we'll get all into it in a second. We'll just run through the intro and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Okay, so tonight's subject is the known side effects of anabolic steroid use, actually a lot more than anabolic steroid use. More broadly, PEDS, which stands for Performance Enhanced Drug Use. So, as I was mentioning earlier, today was very interesting. Got into some lively discussions, and apparently some people are a little bit bent out of shape about some of my comments. And that's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. The reality is, whenever you take a stand on something, I just want to adjust my mic here. Whenever you take a stand on something, I think we're still there. We go. Yep. When you take a stand on something, you are guaranteed to be persecuted for it, especially if it doesn't go with the status quo. And the status quo obviously varies depending on the environment you're in. So, my point of view actually gets a lot of support everywhere else except for when you dive in to an area that is basically submerged in, what can I say, lack of morality, no boundaries, no anything, and people get bent out of shape when you call it. So, had to defend myself a lot, and of course, the people who don't really possess all too much in the way of intellectual skills or much of a vocabulary, they soon resort to, using expletives to describe you. And of course, they got to figure out that you're jealous and that you've had a loser history, and which none of them are true, but that's okay because I know where I stand, I know where I come from, and I know what my credentials are. I'm not Joe Blow that heard from a friend of a friend of a friend in the gym. For those who don't understand my point of view or don't understand my credentials, here it is in a nutshell. I've been in this game for 43 years. That's 43 years consistent. No time off, no time out. Other than the 2 years, which anybody, if they follow the biography I did, I may reiterate that once more. Suffered some major illness a couple of years back, which left me hospitalized for 8 months, and another year and a half basically recouping at home, and I'm still actually deal with that. It's going to be a lifelong situation. But I didn't cry about it, sent out to rectify it, and get better again, which I've done. So 43 years of being a trainer and a trainee. I also have a degree in lab medicine to back up the things I say. And I'm more than welcome anybody's comments. If they care to challenge me, feel free. Either just in day-to-day conversation or from an intellectual point of view. Keep your comments, if they're rude, they just won't even be looked at. And that's the way it's going to go. So we're going to get into the topic about known side effects. And I won't say anabolics, I'll just say performance-enhancing drugs. Because anabolics does not cover the issue, not even remotely. I've had other live streams and I talked about what is actually going on. At one point, we would have only been dealing with anabolics, that's for sure. That was way back prior in the days, even prior to Arnold. Because I think even by the time Arnold came along, I do believe they were already dabbling in growth hormone at that point. If not, it was shortly after. So we have anabolics, which is a whole array of drugs. And what they basically are is they're either straight testosterone or they are some type of, rendition of testosterone, be it man-made or either way. The thing is, it's all based on testosterone, which is a male hormone, which is normally in abundance, and in females is almost non-existent. Of course, we know that's not true anymore because of excessive drug use. Well, we won't get into the characteristics just yet of how that's affected men and women. Yeah, so we have anabolics in themselves, which can be many, many different types of drugs. Many of them not even designed for humans, but people are so stupid, and I use the word stupid because when you're using drugs that are designed for animals, you are stupid. And if that offends you, well, you know what? Just watch something else. Simple as that. Yeah, there's drugs out there designed for horses. People have been using it for years. Equipoise. I'm well aware of what all these drugs are. I just refuse to give anybody information on how to take them. I know how they can be tested for and how they can be tested for a lot more diligently, but they don't. And we know why, because it's all about money. It's not about doing the right thing anymore. It's about money. Okay? So from there, we have growth hormone, which, basically was a drug that was originally developed for people that had their growth stages had been stunted, or due to even could be done to deal due to trauma or due to just straight medical reasons. They developed these drugs actually started regrowth of tissue. Of course, like everything else, man being what he is, he takes a good thing and finds a way to misuse it. Hence, growth hormone is rampant in bodybuilding and fitness. I don't know how much it is in some of the other sports, but make no mistake about it. Every sport and every Olympic sport, everyone, all the upper athletes, they're all on drugs. There are no exceptions. Okay? We don't get broken records 2 or 3 times a year because everybody's just getting that much better because of the food they eat or because of the protein supplements they're taking, okay? Give your head a shake and get your head out of the sand. That's not reality, okay? So then we went on. That wasn't enough, so people then started dabbling in things like insulin. I mean, just think of how ridiculous that is. Insulin, so important in the operation of your whole endocrine system. They're taking even down to like T3 supplements. That's a silly word, eh? T3 drugs, period. They are literally trying to take control of the whole hypothalamic loop, which they'll never do. And hence the problems that we're having today because of that. So we have, and then take another step further, then we have the high risk diuretics. So it's not even bad enough they got all these different elements. They combine them all together. It's like a cocktail that's just ready to explode. And it's not even just one group of people taking it. It's people that never even trained in their life. People have been training for years and can't make gains because they don't apply themselves. They don't train hard. They don't do a lot of things. I've seen so many people over the course of time that think they're training hard, and they train like pansies. They train like pansies. They want to get development. They want to get growth. You got to do a lot of things right. It's as simple as that. If you're a natural athlete, you have to do more things right than someone who's using drugs. And if you're not prepared to do that, you are not going to get the results that you want. So you're either going to end up quitting or you're going to go and start taking drugs like the other group. That's what it comes down to. So, but even that wasn't enough, right? Along came synthol. And for those who aren't aware, look it up. Just go to YouTube. Type in synthol. synthol. Just look at the ridiculousness. But, people can't afford synthol, some people. Or they think they're getting synthol, but, people are actually putting in things like mineral oil and vegetable oil into their muscles. It causes basically what amounts to an immune reaction. causes swelling, and it's a temporary state. A lot of pros are using it because what used to be defined by genetics, meaning if you had certain muscle insertions, muscle lengths, I don't care. Sorry, folks. It's something you have to accept. You can do all the exercise you want. You can do all the wide grip lat pull downs in the world. You are not going to make your shoulder girdle any wider. You can do all the side laterals you want. You'll get bigger side delts, but you are not going to enlarge the size of your actual shoulder girdle. You can do all the preacher curls you want. You are not going to get a longer bicep. These are things that are predetermined, but it wasn't good enough. So now they do site enhancement with synthol. So what does it do? It causes change in the actual muscle conformation in that area. This is lacking, or my pecs aren't balanced, so I'll shoot a little here, a little there. There are pictures out there, people have done this, and they look absolutely disgusting. You can see people that look like they have no shoulder development whatsoever, and they have these two nodules sitting on top of their shoulder blades. And they actually think it looks good. There's been people that actually, this shit is actually leaking out of their skin on stage. And if you think I'm making any of this up, you're not doing your homework. These are the realities of what these people call bodybuilding, but none of them are bodybuilders. Bodybuilding is about building your body, building it physically, building it mentally, building it strong and healthy. Whatever you see on the exterior of any of these individuals, they are dying on the inside. And I mean literally dying on the inside. Don't applaud it. Don't think, oh, look at that old guy. I'm going to get into a specific situation here a little bit in a few more minutes. Look at this old guy, he's in his 50s. Look how this looks tremendous. That's funny because Billy Bob, a year ago, just looked like everybody's grandpa. These are facts, folks. They're not made up. And if you think it's about hate, it's not about hate. It's about a whole fake world we're creating in the fitness world. It's not about fitness anymore. They call it the fitness world. We have fake people that train. We have fake trainers, people with no credentials. One day they're Joe Blow, next day they're a pro trainer. And we turn a blind eye to it. So when you take a stand against that, which I do, this is not about money. I've been in this game for 43 years. There's nothing to do with money for me. There are millions of people out there, millions of people that need help. You think I'm worried about a few individuals out there, cutting in on my score? That's not what it's about at all. Not at all. But for the other people, it is. Because they don't have the credentials and they didn't do the homework and the hard work to get to where they are, whether they be a trainee or a trainer. And the gurus, they're pharmacists. They're not gurus. They didn't teach you some euphoric, some astronomical, some epiphany they had on how to create that perfect physique. Come to me, I will get it done for you. No. They're going to show you what drug stack to use. And most of them screw it up. Yep, they get them big. They get them vascular. But on the day of the show, when it counts, 90% of them, pardon my language, fuck it up. All that hard work, all that devastation to their body, all that money, you think it's cheap? When you get into the upper echelon, not even the upper echelons, there's kids out there that are taking the same stacks as some pros. Do you know that some of those stacks to get ready for a show are running these people $100,000 plus? $100,000. And then they look like the Pillsbury Doughboy a month and a half later. You don't believe me? I can show you pictures. Just get on the internet. Type in, and you know what? I don't know these individuals personally. They might be the greatest people to talk to, but they're not a representation of what this sport is. Look up some pictures of Sean Rhodes, Mr. Olympia from year before last. Literally, a couple months later, you wouldn't even recognize him as a bodybuilder. I can show you pictures of Lee Priest. Phenomenal when he gets on stage. I can show you pictures there where he looks like 3 of Lee Priest, but no definition whatsoever, just a big blob. Don't get me wrong, I like listening to Lee. He's about as, he's sarcastic, he's quick-witted, he's not overly outspoken, but you know what? It's about what it represents. It's not about hating the sinner, it's about hating the sin. I need you to understand that. I don't hate anybody. And for those of you who don't know, and some of you will get a big chuckle about this, I'm a very devout Christian. But I'm very passionate about what I'm talking about. And when people are out and out lying about stuff, sorry, sometimes I lose it. You know what? And I don't hold on to the anger. Unlike some of these other people, especially about today's events. I'll get into that in a second. They're so angry. I'm not angry. I had the discussion, it's done. Tomorrow's another day. That's the way it goes. But if you start on me again tomorrow, we'll get right into it again. Why? Simply this. You have to take a stand in life. We live in a world of gray. People who, they don't want to rock the boat. They're afraid of the persecution. They want to be accepted. I would rather sleep at night than worry about being accepted. And I'd rather know where I stand on every single issue than turn a blind eye just because it might upset somebody. The goal is never, and I mean never, to ostracize somebody just for the sake of doing that, or try and build yourself up by pulling somebody else down. That's not what it's about at all. And only the insecure who read that into a statement see that, because that's not what the intention is. So let's talk about today's events and what sparked it and how it ties in with how I feel about things today. There was a picture of an old fella, and I'm going to say, he looked even older in his age. I'll probably give him, in his 60s anyways. But he looked like almost 80. But he had, he had a lot of muscle. And a lot of muscle for him. I mean, he's no Mr. Olympia. But he was in very, what's the word? I think I might be cutting out here. I hope that doesn't. Anyways. He had good definition. You can really tell. He was just doing a set of dumbbell curls. They were, for all intents and purposes, they didn't show his whole physique. Couldn't see his back at all. Couldn't see his legs. Couldn't see a lot of things. But he was in decent condition. There's no two ways about it. And I made the statement that it's so sad to look at somebody who is definitely, probably somebody's grandfather, or somebody's husband, somebody's father, somebody's everything. And at that age, to be so insecure or so driven for something so unmeaningful that they're willing to risk their life and the happiness of others around them. Because that is what they are doing. Anyways, I want to make sure my mic is still working. Everything seems to be working. Okay. Yep, that is what they're doing. I tried to explain that in my response. My response was simply this. You do not live in a bubble. So, since you don't live in a bubble, everything you do affects somebody else. To put it bluntly, if you hurt yourself because of what you're taking, you don't think you impact somebody else's life or many other people's lives? If you die, you don't impact other people? You know what that's called? It's called selfish. That's what it is. And even on the milder side of things, you know how many people are almost impossible to be around because of the crap that they're on? You don't think you're making life miserable for so many other people? So what? You can feel this rush. You can get those rushes naturally. But you're lazy. You don't want to wait for it. You don't want to work for it. People are out there and they're saying, well, you can't attain any, the natural physiques are terrible. Who wants to look like that? My friend, the problem here is really simple. How many people do you know that 3-4 decades later are still training? And I don't mean just, going to the gym at the leisure center with the kids. I mean training hard. Been doing it the whole time. You're going to have a hard time finding any. I've been doing it for 4 decades plus. I know there's got to be some others out there. And it's taken me through 3 life-threatening situations on top of that, and I still rebuilt. Why? Because I didn't take any drugs. I built it all naturally, and then I had to rebuild it. The thing is, people think that you can't build a phenomenal physique naturally. Yes, you can. And you can compete at quite a high level, but you're not going to do it in 3 years. You're not going to do it in 6 years. You can start competing. But the fact is, well, some people think, well, you only get, after 10 years, you've reached your genetic potential. Hear this. Nobody reaches their genetic potential. You know why? Check the studies. We use approximately 5 or 10% of our brain capacity. In order to maximize your gains, or come to an end or a halt of your gains, you basically have to use up all your potential mentally, because winning in the gym, it doesn't start in the gym. It doesn't start at the dinner table. It doesn't start in bed. It starts in here. When you're able to make that mind to muscle connection, when you're able to visualize, you will start using more of your potential. You will spend your whole life and not reach your full potential. But people aren't prepared to do that. You're a rare breed. You're worse than a unicorn. So that's why I take my stand, because I know there could be a lot more people. I'm tired of seeing people fall by the wayside, either, give up on their dreams and their goals because so-so says you can't do it. But you can, but you got to be willing to stick it out. So let's just round this discussion up with actual problems associated with this. Let's start with, I won't even say the mild ones, let's start with the non-physical ones. Let's start with the psychological ones. You know how many incomplete individuals there are that are using some form of performance-enhancing drug? 95% of the population aren't even elite athletes. They just do it because they're vain and they're insecure. And when they're on it, they're irritable, they're unsocial, they're withdrawn. You think about it, every one of them. It is such a rare breed to find somebody who leads a well-balanced life and uses PEDS at the same time. It doesn't happen. And when it gets worse is when they go off. And then 2 things happen. One of 2 things. They either stay off and they don't go back to the gym because they can't train without it. Because once you've experienced that high, unless you have some serious gumption, you're not going back to the gym. At least not to bodybuilding. Or they go back on, which brings them into the next phase of problems. So let's talk about some of the physical problems. Let's get right into the women here first. Many women, she might as well start changing their name. No longer Felicia. His name is Frank. Karen is Cal. Helen is Harry. You think I'm being facetious? Well, maybe I am. Maybe they're sarcasm. But here's the reality. These are things that will happen to women. And most, if not all of them, are irreversible. I can show you people, and just remember, what you see in the media is not even the tip of the iceberg. It's not. There's so much more iceberg that you don't even know about. People that aren't of notoriety. For the few people that you actually know because of the media, there's hundreds of thousands of them going through the same thing. But you don't get to hear about it because they make sure to cover it up. They don't want that. Why? Because it comes down to money. Money for the drug pushers, money for the media magazines that they make their living off this crap. You got to understand that. Okay? Anyways, women. Let's hit with the big one. A lot of women, when they're using other things other than diuretics, which most of them will use, to do cutting up, and along with some other cutting agents as well. I'm not going to name them because I'm not helping anybody use it. But when they start using actual testosterone derivatives, they start growing a big clitoris. Isn't that nice? Yep. Starts looking like a penis. You know what? Once it does, it doesn't go back. And they grow facial hair. That doesn't stop either, folks. Virtuism. Isn't it lovely when your girlfriend has a 5 o'clock shadow? Yep. Some of them even start looking like they got an Adam's apple. Acne is almost just a run-of-the-mill thing. You'll see that on so many of those ladies. That acne. Jawlines, hard features that normally come out in a man because of testosterone. Those things do not go away. These are permanent. And then the psychological things. So if you think, you as a woman get into taking this stuff, you think you felt a little insecure before, just wait till you are either forced to stop this or you don't stop. You're going to be in for a whole lot of hurt. Yeah, I'm making this sound exact. I'm not pulling any punches here because there's no time to pull punches. I'm tired of opening up, the magazines or going online and find out who died this week. So let's talk about the men. How many of you people are even in the know anymore? Like I said, we're just talking about the stuff that we see in the media. How many people have just died in the last few years of notoriety? Well before their time. But the sad thing is, it's just starting to catch up to people. People are just starting to realize they're dying. Okay, many of the people that were big players while I was in my earlier training years, while I was in hospital, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos. And I was saddened to find out all the guys that were dead. So many big names. So many. All dead. Most of them didn't even reach 40. So what are the big things that are bothering people? Two of the biggest things right off the bat. 90% of the population that ends up terminal because of steroid use is heart and kidney. And a lot of them it's both. And those followed very closely by liver. And that goes for women as well. Almost, matter of fact, every person that they've divulged the autopsy results, and we're just talking about the known people, not the thousands that you don't even know about. Every one of them had an enlarged heart. You think that's healthy? No, it's not. Oh, some out there are going to argue, well, they're an athlete. They're going to have, no, we're not talking. We're going to see people that are 3 times the size of a normal heart. That's not athletics, folks. That's drugs and stupidity. And if you don't like, me bringing this in your face, well, I'm sorry, because I'm not here to be pussyfooting around it, or I'm here to, put it out there in front of you so you know what you're getting into. So we have heart disease, kidney disease, liver disease, to go along with, in men, massive acne and, roid rage. Not pretend, folks. There's people doing scary shit out of there just because of what they're taking. You're not balanced. You're completely out of whack. And then it doesn't even get into psychologically that dependency, what it brings people to do. Many people seep insidiously into a very, what's the word for it? Into a very dark world. They get into other drug use. They get into prostitution. both male and female prostitution. A lot of these people are living a good life. Sorry, folks, it's not because they've done so well in bodybuilding. It's because they're selling their souls. You think any of this, you think I'm just rattling this all off the top of my head? No. Spend some time, get some facts, get educated. And then if you're so hell-bent on destroying yourself and so unwilling to put in the work, that says a lot about your character. It says you're lazy. That's what it says. It says you're entitled and it says you're lazy. It says that you don't give a shit about anybody else in your world. If you're married, you don't care about your wife or your husband. You have kids, you don't give a shit about them. Your parents are still around, you don't give a damn about them. If you're a parent, you don't give a damn about your kids. Let alone, the other circles, your friend circles, all the friends that depend on you and want you around. And half the time they don't even know what to say to you because you're always in an irritable mood, and then maybe someday you end up dead. These are realities, folks. These are known. Not fabricated, not maybe. It's only a matter of when. There's shows even by people who I do not like their shows at all. They have a good following on YouTube and that. And they're actually medical doctors. As far as I'm concerned, they're doing it all wrong. But, anyways, they're going to continue on. And they even say, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So if you're not smart enough to get off the train and you continue on, you are going to probably die. And especially with the types of drugs that are out there now. There's drugs out there that are so potent. And people take it like it's candy. I know a young up-and-coming media superstar that's, well documented in the channel, has a good following. He's only 21. He's been taking a stack that many pros don't even take. He's been taking it for 4 years. That means he barely even touched the weight in his life before he even just started on shit. Where do you think he's going to be in a few years? Probably dead. But if not, he won't be in the gym anymore. But isn't that the sad point about it all? Here's something that could actually lead you to have a quality way of life. It doesn't guarantee you longevity. But what it does is it guarantees you a lifetime of better quality. Better frame of mind, better focus, Not worrying about where you're going to get your next buck so you can stick a needle in your ass or get some pills. Not getting so pissed after all that work you did and you came in 10th. Time to wake up, folks. And to all those people today that got into it with me, I thank you. Because you know what? That means I got the reaction I wanted. I won. I didn't intend to win. It made no difference to me. I got my point across. You were forced to contend with it. And I'm going to continue on this. And why? Because I believe in taking a stand. I don't believe in saying something and stand back and watch what everybody else is going to do about it. And I ask anybody who feels the same way to take part. Join in. If you don't want to lead the charge, come up from behind. Go to my YouTube channel, watch the videos, subscribe to the channel. If you want to at least start to equal the balance of power between naturals and non-naturals, join in. You can't make qualms because there's lots of people out there other than me that make same types of remarks, but don't do anything about it. Put your money where your mouth is. You truly believe something, and because if you don't, then you are just like these people. You're just someone who's jealous and trying to bring everybody else down. If you're actually passionate about it, like I am, I'll be doing this till the day I die. How many people out there can say the same thing? Not many. And that's the whole problem. People are just using it for some type of means, and it has nothing to do with the end. People don't do things for the journey anymore. They just do something for the end result. So they want that end result today. They don't want it tomorrow, the next day, a week after, a year after. They want it now. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. What else am I going to say? Things are moving right along. I have a facility that's going to be opening. Like I said, this isn't about money for me. I do this. This is my living. I train people, and now that social media has opened up, I'm going to make use of it. This is my platform. It's natural training, pushing the natural platform, taking all those well-deserved bows away from people who don't deserve it, and give it to other athletes that actually do. I have a show every Friday that basically spotlights individuals, both competitors, non-competitors, just people that have done amazing things with their life due to training and deciding to make some changes, no drugs. And that needs to be celebrated. So if you want to be part of that, let me know. Or if there's something you want tackled, or even if you want to debate me, feel free. If you want to come on the show and you're willing to be civilized, you can have a spot. Not a problem. Just remember, I got my hand on the button. Anybody does it, gets out of line, beep, you're gone. So, that invitation is out there. With that said, we have a lovely lady who's vying for a title. I believe it's Ms. Fitness. I'm not sure the exact title, and I do apologize, Linda. Anyways, her name is Linda. She'll be coming on the show on Friday, and she's going to basically tell her story. And it's a rather remarkable story. And we've had some interaction in the last week or so. And I really look forward to having her on and celebrating her natural status and her whole drive, all the changes she's made. With that said, folks, like I said, I hold no anger about things that went on today. Tomorrow will be another fight, and the next day and the next day after that. Because that's what happens when you take a stand. Anyways, this is the way it is naturally. I'm Perry with Bull Fierce Training through Bull Fierce Media Productions, and we will be back on Friday. And until then, God bless. Take care.